Hey everybody, how's it going? B Temple back again, and today we are going to move on to the review of at least the first two. Maybe we'll see what the what sort of time constraints I have. I may do all four today, I'm not entirely sure. But we'll at least do the first two of our 4 decades of Canadian IMPs of the same menu, which was Beans and Wieners. In 2017, they didn't actually put menu numbers, unlike previous years. And I believe in 2018 they actually go back to putting in menu numbers for some weird reason. They decided in 2017 not to do that. So this is menu number 2 in 2007, and I believe in the years previous to this and 2018 afterwards, I believe this was either like a menu 1 or 2. I'm not 100% sure. I think this is the first. When I had this one, this is the first time I'd ever had one before. So, what we're going to do, we've already gone through the unboxing in the previous review, the 4 decades of Canadian IMPs. I think what we'll do is just, try this one out first. We're going to work our way backwards chronologically. So this one here we know should be perfectly fine. This one here, there's a possibility, obviously, that some things could be gone off, as it were. And then as we keep working backwards, the possibility for things being bad certainly increases. So first thing we'll do is get this laid out into a tray and get everything all prepared. So this is everything laid out for the 2017 Beans and Wieners item. We don't have everything on camera. All the rest of the stuff, like the hot sauce and the coffee and the mint and all that kind of stuff, I don't really need that right now. I don't drink coffee, so I'm not going to mix up the coffee. So what we'll do next is I'm going to get some hot water boiling to lay the main in, and I'll get everything else unpacked, and then we'll come back. So here it is, everyone. This is our 2017 Beans and Wieners all laid out. For the expediency of time, I thought I'd do it this way. Just let everyone see what it looks like first, and then it's all unpacked instead of taking all the time to individually do each one. So we've got our peanut butter soldier fuel bar, which looks akin to a American First Strike bar, but we'll see what the sort of difference is in quality. Got our hamburger bun with some raspberry jam, I believe it was, and some peanut butter. Then we got our sliced peaches, got our apple and brown sugar crunchy cereal, and then we got, obviously, our main, our Beans and Wieners, and our drink, which is great. Now, they gave you 2, so I only mixed up 1. And this is an incredibly dark grape drink mix. And smells really good. Some people really hate artificial, I guess, grape drink, I guess the best way to put it. But it's one of my favorites, actually. So I'm looking forward to trying that. This main here looks and smells very similar to, I guess, a very nostalgic piece of childhood, I suppose. Every time that we'd ever go trouting or ice fishing or hunting or checking rabbit slips, usually when I was a kid, we'd bring along a red can of Puritan Beans and Wieners to cook up on the fire, and this looks and smells just like that, so everything should be pretty good. This looks like a tremendously hearty breakfast. If one were to sit down and eat the whole thing in one go, this is going to sustain you for a very long time. So I guess without any further ado, we'll dive right in. So this is well heated. We've got a fairly good, I suppose, ratio of, I guess, frankfurters to beans. We've got, 8 big large pieces. So I don't know if that's meant to represent one large, I guess, hot dog cut up, I suppose. There's one end piece, but there's no real second end piece. But we'll just dive right in. Give this a taste. Now, if you're someone who doesn't like Beans and Wieners, you obviously probably won't like this, but if you're someone who's grown up having a lot of this, just canned Beans and Wieners, this is absolutely perfect. This is like a taste of childhood right here. Actually, if it didn't say Baxter's on the outside of the package, I would certainly believe this actually was Puritan. Tastes just like what I used to have as a kid. And I know Puritan obviously is still a brand you can purchase in the grocery store, but I haven't had it for a very long time. But yeah, this is great if one were to get this for breakfast, you're certainly going to enjoy it, and it's certainly going to be nice and hearty. Let's try a little bit of our grape drink. Give that a try. It mixed really, really well. I have to say the Dr. Oetker brand drink mixes are so much better than USMRE beverage-based powders. Not that it tastes like more natural, I suppose. I mean, everything obviously is going to be artificially flavored. There's just something about it that's not sickly, and I guess just the flavors balance out a little bit better. Moving along, let's try out our cereal. I threw a little bit of water in there. It's a little bit gluey, but if I was going to make oatmeal or something like that, I prefer it to be like this as opposed to, you know, more soupy, more watery. So remember, this is apple and brown sugar flavored. That's really nice and pleasant. It's not a really strong apple flavor. You only really get it as a slight aftertaste at the end. What you're mostly getting is, I guess, the milk powder that would be in here, and then just the oat and granola kind of flavor. It's really, once again, not much. It's not much apple, and it's also not much brown sugar. So this tastes a lot more like just standard everyday oatmeal. There's a slight sweetness in it, but it's nothing overpowering. It's not really enough to, I think, in my mind, to justify calling it brown sugar flavored, but it's still at least tasty. And it is rightly called crunchy cereal. The oats are thick enough that even with a little bit of water and sitting there for a few minutes, it still has that crunchy consistency, you know, which is nice. I don't like I guess an oatmeal or a granola. It's too soft. This is kind of perfect. I just wish that the flavor would have been a little better. You know, would have been greater. You had a second jam, sort of mix one of the jam in there with that. That would actually probably bring that up a little bit. But it's certainly a good item. Next, let's try out our Soldier Fuel bar. Remember, this is peanut butter flavored. So it's got like that tough protein bar kind of consistency to it. Looks like there's either pieces of actual peanuts in that, or maybe it's Rice Crisps. But we'll see upon tasting. That is so much better than a First Strike bar. First Strike bars, I find, they can be really, really tough. Like, it's almost not enjoyable to chew on them. But this, it's a wonderful consistency. It's a little tough to start with, but once you get through that first or second chew, it's perfectly okay. I was right in my assumption or guess that there was pieces of peanuts in there, as well as Rice Crisps. You can get that crunch when you chew on it. But it's got a lovely peanut butter flavor. Not too sweet. It's a bit more savory. I guess you're getting a bit more of the salty sort of flavor from the peanuts, from the peanut butter. But all in all, that's fantastic. And there's a lot of protein in there. Next, we're going to make up our PB&J, I suppose. Probably could have spread it out a little bit better, but the bun is a little bit darker than maybe I'd like, and it was scored horribly, so it didn't tear very well. Let's dive right in and take a bite of our hamburger bun PB&J. It's not bad, but ever since they got rid of the rectangular shaped piece of bread, I've really missed it. Switching over to the hamburger bun, maybe for some of the menu items, probably made a little bit more sense for like making a sandwich out of it. But the quality of the bread, I think, has gone down since they switched to hamburger buns. It all seems a little bit drier and doesn't have that, I guess, not as natural of a real bread sort of flavor as the actual sort of rectangular buns used to have. But it's not bad. I just would very much prefer if it was gone back to the way it was. Lastly, we've only got one item left. We got our sliced peaches. Now these seem very soft. They're in a very sort of thick syrup. Let's give that a try. Okay, they're not as bad as I thought they were going to be. They appear soft, but they still have a nice bit of bite to it when you do actually try to eat it. It's a very nice fresh flavor. Obviously, it's got that sort of canned peaches flavor. You know, it would certainly have that. But they're not that old in the grand scheme of things when it comes to rations, so they still taste great. So there we have it. This was a very quick look at the first of our 4 Beans and Wieners IMPs. This was from 2017. The crunchy cereal, I could take it or leave it. It's not fantastic, but it's not bad either, I suppose. Once again, the bread is what it is. I prefer something else. Everything else, utterly fantastic. The grape drink is great. That main is really, really good. Like I said, some people, it's really not their cup of tea to have a meal like that, but that's a good meal, I think, no matter what time of day it is. A Soldier Fuel bar. It's actually the first time I've ever had one in an IMP. From all the IMPs I've ever had, I've never come across one before, so it's really nice to finally get to try one. And the peanut butter one is great. Hopefully one of these days I'll come across a chocolate or any of the other flavors that they have. So what we're going to do next is get everything all cleaned up and move on to our 2007. Okay, everybody, so this is our 2007 IMP Beans and Wieners laid out. This is menu number 2. We've got a few different items, so be interesting to see what the differences are, I suppose. And this is the point where I'm probably going to have to get a little more deliberate with my eating, I guess, because, you know, this is now based on the packing date. Some of this stuff is almost 13 years old. So IMPs last fairly well, but the packaging isn't as robust as, say, the packaging you would find in US MREs. So things can go bad quicker. And this is certainly well past the what we would call the inspection date, expiry date for Canadian IMPs. So yeah, we'll just be a little more cautious and see how things actually turn out. So what we'll do it the same way we did for the 2017. We'll get everything unpacked, and then we'll come back. Okay, so this is everything we've got laid out for the 2007 IMP Beans and Wieners. So, remember, that's the bag. We got a bunch of extras that we're not going to sort of run through, like the coffee and whatnot. I don't think I'm going to need to use the ketchup for this. So we've got our strawberry crunchy cereal this time, some applesauce, we've got our rectangular bread, we got some honey. Just readjust that so it doesn't start spilling everywhere. We got an extra pack of honey. We got our Campino, like I guess it's cherry cream, hard candy at the end. We got a pineapple drink, which was caked, but seems to have reconstituted well. We got a mint hot chocolate, and we've got our main. So this was a Freddy Chef brand, not Baxter's brand, Beans and Wieners. And there's seems to be a lot more wieners in here than there was in the previous one. Doesn't seem to have, I don't know, the sauce seems a little chunkier, I suppose. Either it didn't heat up well, or it's, you know, starting to go off, I suppose. There's two possibilities, I guess. So yeah, let's dive right in. It doesn't smell too bad off the top, but there's always a worry that now something at this stage could be bad. Let's just try a little bit of the beans first, just to see. Beans taste okay. Let's try a little bit of it together. It's not too bad. It's certainly not as good as the 2017 one. Obviously, that could be due to the fact that it's at least 12 years old, going on 13. The sauce has a different consistency. It doesn't have that same flavor. It's not so smoky. It's more just pure tomato sauce based. Like if you had a can of beans and wieners, sometimes you can get them, you know, molasses based or tomato. This one's a much more tomato based sort of sauce. The wieners are okay. There's just a slight strange aftertaste at the end, which makes me not really want to dive in and have any more. Let's try the pineapple drink, just to cleanse the palate a little bit. And yeah, even though that was caked a little bit, that mixed perfectly. That's a nice, subtle pineapple flavor. It's not sickly sweet. It's not like you get like a pineapple pop, like, Pineapple Crush or something like that. It's not that sickly. It's just a nice sort of mild pineapple flavor. Almost tastes a little natural, I guess. Guess we'll move on to the cereal. Now, there's always a little bit of a worry when it comes to things like this in Canadian rations, because for the most part, Canadian rations would still use like skim milk powder, not, non-dairy creamer kind of thing. So for the hot chocolate and for the cereal, there is that little bit of a worry that, the milk powder may have gone off a little bit. So this is strawberry crunchy cereal. It's better than I anticipated. There's actual real pieces of dehydrated strawberry in there, freeze dried, and it's a really nice strong strawberry flavor. There's just a very, very faint hint of a weird sort of milk flavor, but it's not that bad. Considering the age, I'm mildly surprised. In keeping with the milk sort of thing, let's try our mint flavored hot chocolate. And because I use hot water, the fact that the milk is obviously, first of all, obviously it's real milk powder in there. It's a very strong mint smell, but not a strong mint flavor once you sort of take a mouthful of it. And more pronounced than the cereal is that sort of just faint background tinge of milk powder that's starting to go off, I guess is the best way to put it. So it takes a little bit away from the flavor, but it's still fairly pleasant for something of its age. What we got next is, well, we got our bread with our honey and our applesauce. Now our applesauce is certainly oxidized a little bit. It is a little dark, but it certainly smells okay. And usually applesauce actually holds up pretty well, I've found, but let's give it a try anyway. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. It just looks a little darker, just because of oxidization. But it's a really nice tart and sweet combination applesauce. It's really, really nice, really refreshing. We don't really have a whole lot left, I suppose. So, not, kind of taking up a lot of time with mixing up tea and all that kind of stuff, or mixing up coffee, I mean. There's no tea came with this one. Let's try our bread. Like I said before, I liked it when they had the rectangular bread, so this is what it looked like. It looked like a little small actual loaf of bread. Had a sort of consistency of real bread. Let's give a taste with our honey and see if it's still holding up. It's not bad, actually. The bread is still somewhat soft, but it doesn't have as much give as it certainly would have if it was, 6 or 7 years younger. I mean, this is from 2007 or 2006 when it was packed, or I guess when it was made. So, it's starting to show its age. I don't know if the honey, obviously honey doesn't really go bad. It says it's pure honey, and it hasn't crystallized in any way. I don't know if I'm just someone who's not a huge fan of honey like that. I like a little bit of honey flavoring, but not just straight up honey like that. I don't think I really enjoy it a whole lot. There's not a whole lot left. Lastly, we got our Campino hard candy, which I do remember having these when I was a teenager. I think I like the strawberry and the orange flavor more than I did the cherry. I don't think I actually ever had the cherry one before, so let's give this a try. They must have actually used real cream in the making of that, because, oh man, for a commercially packaged candy like that, that's 12 or 13 years old, that tasted horrible. Oh my god. That was gone off cream. That's the only way to describe that flavor. Obviously there was cherry in it as well, but I couldn't really pick up on it as much as I wanted to. That overpowering, rancid cream flavor really came through. So if you ever come across like an old pack of those Campinos, I would not recommend you trying them just for the sake of trying them. That was utterly horrible. All right, guys. So that's been our 2007 Beans and Wieners. I think we'll just keep rolling along, and up next, we'll see something from 1997. Okay, so now we're moving on to our third IMP. We're gradually marking our way to the end. This is where I'm going to start getting into things that I've never actually tried before. So you've got an IMP from 1997, menu number 1, Beans and Wieners. And same as the last few, we'll just get this out onto a tray, and then we'll get everything ready. So this is everything all laid out. We got our Beans and Wieners. We got some sliced peaches again this time. Got a rectangular bread. We got marmalade as our spreads, which I've never seen before. Pack of Trident gum, Werther's Original. Got some maple brown sugar oatmeal cereal. Got a grape drink and a hot chocolate mix. So we'll get everything all ready, and then we'll come back. Okay, I'm not one to complain horribly, but out of the 4 IMPs, this particular one from 1997, I don't know exactly where it came from before I got it from Don Juan 21, and once again, I'd like to thank Don Juan 21 for helping me out getting all 4 of these. But this particular one, the bag itself smells like it was stored somewhere that had mothballs. And because of the fact that it's not like that hard plastic like MREs are, obviously it's not 100% airtight. So that mothball smell has permeated everything. And also, this is what the hot chocolate mix looks like. That certainly looks like it's just milk powder that's gone bad. It smells just like mothballs and sour milk. This is the grape drink mix, and that somehow smells like mothballs too. That's the cereal. All the milk powder in that has gone horribly bad. The peaches are slimy and brown. And let's see, I haven't really gotten to the main yet, but I certainly don't have high hopes for anything now. The bread looks at least okay, but it is incredibly dry. And at least that smells okay. The marmalade may be the only thing that's, I guess, redeeming. We got our Werther's Original here. If that's just sitting in a little package like this, commercial like that, this is going to be absolutely horrible. First of all, it's stuck together. Yeah, that smells like a mothball Werther's Original, so that's gone in the trash right now. And we've got our commercial pack of Trident gum, which I don't have high hopes for either. So there's 8 sticks of spearmint gum in here. And that smells like mint and mothballs as well. So, yeah. See, I heated up the main. Even the pack that the main is in smells like mothballs. And I hate to have to, I guess, wimp out completely. But since these have obviously taken in the odor of mothballs, they could very well still hold the active ingredient that is mothballs. And there's usually 2 main ingredients, either naphthalene or dichloro or bichloro benzene. And both of those are insecticides, and they're poisons. And I have no intention whatsoever of possibly imbibing something that still has active insecticide working in it. So all of this, sadly, is going to get trashed because I really don't need to get myself sick. And of course, I share a home with a wife and a toddler and a baby on the way, so I don't need anything around in the home that's going to harm anybody like that. So yeah, we're just going to move straight on to the 1989 one, and we're just going to forget that 1997 even happened. Okay, everyone, I don't know if I probably should have worked backwards or what, but we kind of started off good and got a little worse and then got horribly bad, and now we end with 1989. So hopefully this is at least somewhat better. The biggest thing is it doesn't smell like mothballs. So that's the one good part about it already. And like we've been doing, let's get this unpacked and onto our tray. So this is everything for our 1989 Beans Wieners IMP laid out. We've got our Cadbury's Instant Hot Chocolate. We've got a Constellation, or I guess Stang, brand grape drink. Got a Type 3 crunchy cereal, so I don't really know what the flavor is supposed to be. Got our bread, marmalade, some chiclets, Dare chocolate mint, and I guess a spoon that you don't really see anymore for Canadian IMPs. Very wide spoon or mouth part, and it's pretty short. And yeah, from what we've seen from previous iterations, peaches from 1989 in a retort pouch probably are not going to look that good. The Cadbury Instant Hot Chocolate in just a commercial package like this, it's probably going to be very, very bad. And the crunchy cereal, if it does have milk powder in it, it's probably not going to be very good either. Like I said, I don't know if I should have worked the other way around. I should have started with this stuff, started with the bad and work our way towards the good, or do it the way I've been doing it. But you know, these are just as enjoyable, at least seeing what they're like. And some people enjoy the, you know, sort of enjoy it when the ration reviewers have a really horrible time with things. And, you know, I got to edit out a lot of coughing and gagging and stuff like that when things are really, really bad. But we'll get everything all unpacked and get this heated up, and then we'll be ready to go. Most of the items today are obviously made either by Baxter's or the Warnick Company. And then for a while there in the 90s and even in the early 2000s, Freddy Chef was the packer. And now for this stuff, in the 80s, you've got Magic Pantry from Hamilton, Ontario, which I've never heard of in my entire life. Maybe some people in the comments want to I guess, leave a comment on if they actually know what this brand is, or if they've heard of it before, or if it still actually exists, or if it's disappeared completely. Just for an update, can't really see this very well, but that's what the pears look like. I mean, the peaches. So, yeah, I don't even see the need of kind of pouring that out. They're even darker than the ones from 1997. Can't really get to see it very well, but there's the juice. And, yeah, I'm not even going to be trying those, so... and they smell really bad. So, yeah, we're just going to leave that off to the side. Yeah, there's actually mold growing inside the beans and wieners. You can barely pick it out. There's a little white spot right there. Inside, about an inch inside on the flat part. And if the beans are moldy inside, and they smell very bitter, it's like bleach and old books kind of mixed together, we'll just put this off to the wayside and just kind of forget it. It didn't heat up very well. It's still very chunky. So I at least dumped it out just to let you see what it looks like. But yeah, it's incredibly dark and smells really, really bad. The wieners are taking on like a beef jerky kind of smell. But then sort of in the background, there's that really, really, really bad rancid bleach and an old books kind of smell, which, yeah, I don't feel like eating anything like that. The bread is a little different. I've never seen it like this before. It appears to be whole wheat, I guess. It's obviously not white bread. And that's what the marmalade looks like. And I tell you, I've never seen marmalade look that dark. And once again, that also has that really bitter, rancid smell to it. Like it's fermented way, way too much. I'm going to just clean off the spoon and give the cereal a little stir. But I don't hold much high hopes for that either. For something like IMPs that aren't packed as robustly as American MREs are, I really wasn't expecting anything. And this would be edible to start with. But it's just interesting to see how much of a progression there is over time. And when it comes to the 4 MREs that we've seen, or the 4 IMPs, I mean, when we see the progression over time, there hasn't really been a whole lot of change. You're still getting your cereal, still getting your bread and your spread. The main, in composition might look a little bit different, but it's obviously it's the same exact thing. You're still getting a drink mix, and oddly enough, 3 of the 4 times you actually end up with grape. Twice, or 3 times, 3 out of 4 times, you get a hot chocolate drink. The one that we saw in 2007 was mint. The other 2 were just sort of, I guess, standard, regular hot chocolate flavor. And, yeah, get some gum and some candy and whatnot. They stopped with the marmalade, I guess, at some point after 1997. I don't know exactly what year they would have stopped, but I've never seen it all in anything from, 2000 and above. So yeah, let's stir up our cereal a little bit. Like I said, I'm not going to try the main. It just smells too horrible. And if it smells that bad, I just don't want to get sick. So here's our crunchy cereal. It literally gives no other flavor except it's crunchy cereal type 3. Oh, God. Yeah, that's that rancid milk powder. Oh, yeah, that's like everything else in this pack. That's that sort of bitter smell and mix of sort of that bleach and old books kind of flavor, and that's not pleasant in any way, shape, or form. Oh my God. Yeah. Let's try some of the bread, I guess, just on its own at first. It doesn't look that bad. It is just as dry as the one from 1997. It's no drier. Even the bread's gone bad. There's the marmalade. Obviously, I've never seen marmalade like that before. It tastes like someone tried to take a jar of marmalade and somehow make some alcohol out of it. And they didn't do a very good job. Oh, that's horrible. Wow, there's really nothing very good here. Let's try the drinks. This may be the one thing in here that is passable. Yeah, I don't know if I used too much water, but it's not very flavorful. It is obviously a grape drink, but it's about a half and half mix of grape flavor and old books flavor. So that one didn't last very well either. I really don't have very high hopes for this. This is a Cadbury hot chocolate mix. There's obviously going to be real milk powder in there, and this is from 1989. So yeah, this is 30 years old. Oddly enough, it's not that bad. It's certainly a lot better than the cereal is. Somehow, that has pretty well survived. I don't understand how. It makes no sense, but it's almost perfectly drinkable. Almost. You can tell it's not, fresh. You can tell it's had some days on it, but I guess compared to everything else, it's probably the best item in the whole bunch. We just haven't gotten to the candy and the gum yet. So let's try that actually. So this was a Dare brand chocolate mint, and these just remind me of my grandmother. And sometimes she'd take candy to church and try to open up candy as quiet as you possibly could during, the most silent part of a church service. And nope, that didn't last very well either. Yeah, it's that weird old books flavor all over again, just with a little hint of mint behind it. Lastly, let's give our old school packet of chiclets a try. It's actually Adams brand chiclets. These are peppermint. And they look perfect. They taste perfectly fine, but that's just like trying to eat peppermint gum flavored sand. That's the best way to put it. That breaks apart and really wasn't able to reconstitute while chewing. So that's, that's a bit of a miss there. At least it tasted pretty good. So, this has been a 1989 breakfast menu number 2, beans and wieners with some peaches. As things got older and older, obviously, things got worse and worse. Yeah, this is just as bad as the one from 1997, but at least the one from 1997, smelled like mothballs and was possibly poisonous. This just shows what time does to IMPs, even though it may have been stored perfectly. Who knows? But 30 years on a ration that isn't meant to hold up for anywhere near that time. It's probably only meant to hold up about 10% of that time. Doesn't look that bad. The bread at least looks good. It was still moderately soft, I guess. No worse than the one from 1997. So, a change of 8 years didn't really seem to make that much of a difference when it comes to bread. It's interesting to see that they used to use brown bread back then. I'd be curious to see what that would have been like when it was actually fresh. It probably was fairly tasty and hearty, I guess. Yeah, so this has been a 1989 Breakfast IMP. We're now finished our run through of our 4 decades of the same exact IMP menu, and we've gone from great to pretty good to horrible and then horrible. So I wasn't expecting any different from that. I wasn't expecting to be able to chow down and eat every single component from every single thing. These just aren't meant to last like some other, rations are. But it's been interesting nonetheless, being Canadian and getting to see sort of, a 4-decade progression of rations for the Canadian Armed Forces. It's interesting to see what they deemed was good to feed their troops, and also interesting to see that they really haven't changed things a whole lot. It doesn't seem to be as drastic of changes as even you would see in, 4 decades of American rations, the way they've progressed over time. So guys, it's nice to have this done and go through. I was excited to finally find some time to get these done. It happened to be a holiday today, so that's good. Gave me a chance to do all this. And now comes the fun of editing and all that kind of stuff. But I'm looking forward now to moving on and try some different stuff from the collection. And, maybe something new, maybe something vintage, who knows. But like I always like to say, thanks a lot for stopping by, and have a good one.